Hey, Jeff here from Whipbird Environmental, and today I'm on a farm in Robertson doing some bush regen work, and I thought that I'd just film a little bit of the process and um, sort of document a bit of what's going on today. So this morning I'm going to be putting some plants in, and then I'm going to be doing some gorse control later on. But first I'll show you what we're putting in. We've got about, I'm not going to put all those lomandras in, but I'm going to put about 30 lomandra longifolia in. And then we've got some Poa affinis there that the landholder had. We've done some revegetation works already. We've put in some eucalypts and acacias and stuff. That's what all these cages are. And we're leaving some of this grassy expanse in here because a lot of local fauna make use of it. What we're going to do is just within these planting bubbles that I've done already, I'm going to be putting in some little pockets of grasses. So the way I typically do that is I'll plant in like this sort of situation anyway, is I'll plant in groups of 3, 5 or 7. Typically I'll just do one species in a clump, and that just makes it easier to maintain while they're getting established, and they'll look after themselves. So what I'll do is probably put 3 lomandra out or 5 lomandra out, and then I'll move over a few meters and I'll do some Poa. I might do a couple of areas where I sort of intertwine them a little bit, but it'll be mostly just clumps of single species throughout this planting. But yeah, it's a really cool spot. Got these really beautiful eucalypts around. It's really, really nice. There's lots of cool rainforest understory, and they've got these lovely little xerochrysums around the place as well. So one of the things I neglected to mention was the sort of process. So there's 2 ways you can really do it. You can lay plants out and then go and dig the holes of the plants. This works good if you've got a team, because you can all be working at the same time, sort of thing. But today I'm by myself, so I'm going to do some holes in this first bubble and I'll plant it out, and then I'll go to the next bubble, do some holes, plant it out, and that'll just be easier for me to keep track of the plants, how many there are, how many I've got left to do. Alright, so I finished this first bubble. If I'd quickly show you it, one of the things you might notice is that I haven't prepped this site for planting. There's no, there was no like mulch or anything like that. Not really necessary here. There's also no I didn't sort of create circles in the grass to plant these things into. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, most of the ground cover here is actually native. So we've got lots of native hydrocotyls, and there's Microlinus dapoides. There are some exotic grasses, some pasture grasses and things like that out here, but I've been here for over the course of the summer, and this grass never gets really long. It's quite frequently grazed, so I don't really see it being an issue with these plants. We can just weed around a little bit if we need to in maintenance, but these plants shouldn't also get grazed going in because they're quite tough. They're sort of overgrown their tubes a little bit, so they're quite tough. Animals will prefer the nice soft new growth on these lush grasses out here than eating these. So I'll quickly show you the couple of different planting styles that I did. I did a couple of each just to sort of demonstrate. So first up, just here, we have one of those mixed planting bubbles I talked about. So we got, it's a bit hard to see, but I got 3 lomandra, and then we did 2 Poa, so one there and one there. And that'll just create a nice little zone. Then as we come up here, just a little Poa section here, so you can see where the my shadow's not helping there, but you can see where the dirt's been disturbed. That's where I've planted them. So that's actually a pretty good example of how we plant things. So we like to make these bowls in the soil, and that way when it rains they sort of catches the water and slowly soaks in. I'm not bothering to water these in today because this soil is really, really moist. We've had a lot of rain over the last few weeks, and there was a bit of rain over the weekend and stuff, so I'm not concerned about these plants. They're going to get rained on again this week as well. And then we have a little patch of 4 lomandras here, so I don't always stick to the 3, 5, 7. Sometimes I'll do 4, but you can see we've got a eucalypt planted here, and then I'm sort of trying to build that, another one there and one over there, so trying to build some stuff in the middle there, some structure is the word I'm looking for, through the middle there. We've got lots of Sonoan coming up on its own here, lots of really great ground covers. You can see just here we've got Dichondra repens. We've also got hydrocotyls. There's a bit of weeds around. We've also got some native geraniums, and this is a little bit of Microlenus diploides right here, the weeping meadow grass. So quite good ground covers in here. So this is our next planting bubble down here. I'm just going to plant this one out. Wind's starting to pick up quite a bit out here. We've got this planting bubble here which stops about where that bracken fern is, just there. And then down the back where that big eucalypt is, we've planted like a big crescent shape all the way up to about there-ish, where that sort of tree is there. So I'll plant this one out, then I'll plant that one out. I want to save a good amount of lomandra for this patch just here in the sun there, because there was a lot of gorse that we took out there, and I'd like to get some plants in. There's 250 trees and shrubs went into here. These little corflu guards, they were already here, they were a previous revegetation. So we just sort of bolstered that with 250 more. Plus now we've just put in probably about 70 or so. Now I'm up here to do some gorse control. The goats have gotten curious about what I'm doing. They're coming down to say hello. But yeah, we've got a lot of gorse here. This is unfortunately a pretty bad weed up in the highlands. Just going to be cutting this down and putting a bit of direct application herbicide on the stumps to knock the plants. And we've already done all this area here a few weeks ago. There's all that over there. So we're on the last stretch, around the home stretch, I guess. We've done a lot around this property over the last couple of months, but we're going to be coming around the back there, and then on the other side of that, it's pretty much like that density the whole way up there, and it goes for a little bit further that way. So I'm going to get cracking with that. Where it's I guess hard is it's incredibly spiky, so it takes a long time to get down to the bases quite often. It's also really dense growing, so usually most of the time spent doing it is just reducing the biomass so you can get to the bases of it to remove it. And then what I do is, as I work through, the gorse that I'm cutting here comes back to where I was previously, and I use that as a mulch layer over the top to reduce the potential for new seedlings to pop up. So I do that with a lot of different weeds, but gorse and lantana are probably the two main ones I do that with.